Kanvar leaned tight against Dar-Anadhar's neck to protect his eyes from the cold wind as Dar-Anadhar flew. They'd followed the Kundiland coast northward for 2 days, leaving behind the steamy jungles and skimming over frost-covered trees, the air getting colder and colder as they pushed toward the great north. Dar-Anadhar glided down toward the rocky shoreline. Great waves thundered against the rocks, sending up a violent spray that stung Kanvar's cheeks. "Look at those waves," Kanvar said. "We can't rest here. It's too cold." His armor had always been warm enough in the high mountain meadows where the blue dragon pride nested. Here it felt like only a flimsy piece of fabric, incapable of blocking the biting wind. Dar-Anadhar flew on, hugging the coastline, searching through Kanvar's eyes for some place more sheltered to rest. The sun set. The farther north they went, the shorter each day got. At last, Dar-Anadhar found a small bay sheltered from the force of the coastal waves. He swooped toward the bay, and the overpowering stench of rotting fish and marine life blasted Kanvar in the face. A cacophony of grumbling, grunting, and barking filled the air from furry brown and gray bodies lining the rocky shore and swimming in the water. As soon as Dar-Anadhar approached, the creatures let out terrified yaps, dove into the water, and raced out into the bay. 3 of them were too slow, and Dar-Anadhar snatched them up in his front claws before settling onto the vacated rocks. "Sea lions," he said, quite pleased with himself as he and Kanvar made a dinner of them. "Smelly, but tender and juicy. When I was younger I'd fly up here once in a while just to hunt them. Worth the effort too, but I've never seen so many here before." "Why do you suppose they are here?" Kanvar asked. "Don't know," Dar-Anadhar answered. "I think the biggest colonies are along the great north coast. Perhaps they've migrated here for some reason. In any case, I need to rest for a while." "All right, but I don't want to stay here long," Kanvar said. "I have such a bad feeling that we're going to be too late to save my grandfather." Denali shouted in surprise and slid from the nest. The sleek baby dragon stared down at him. It was small and feminine, like a miniature of the dead she-dragon that sat on the nest. It mewed at Denali, scrabbled with its hind legs, and managed to flop out of the nest at his feet. Denali jumped back. His heart pounded like the icy sea against the shore. A baby. Just hatched. It blinked its big eyes up at Denali and mewed again. And hungry. Not so different from the dogs whining for food. It flapped its little wings and wobbled toward Denali, opening its jaws to show tiny sharp teeth. The clear stone on its forehead pulsed white, stinging Denali's eyes. He looked away and blinked, grateful the hatchling hadn't flashed its light as bright as its father had when he attacked. It had been too bright for comfort anyway, and Denali hadn't been ready for it. When he looked back, he found the baby dragon had crossed the distance between himself and the sled and was using its claws to tear away the bandage from his father's chest. Denali shouted and dove for the sled just as the dragon's long white tongue snaked out and hungrily licked at the blood that seeped from the wounds. Denali tried to stab the little monster, but it hopped to the side and continued to feast on his father's blood. "No. Get away." Denali swiped with his hunting knife and managed to scratch the dragon's muzzle. It let out a sharp cry, licked the cut, then flapped up, grabbed the packet of fish, and swooped away to the far side of the nest behind its frozen mother. "Hey, that's my food," Denali screamed. He re-secured the bandage against his father's chest, snatched up the spear, and took a few steps back toward the nest. The she-dragon's eyes seemed to stare down straight into his heart. With the baby dragon's mother and father both dead, the catch it had taken from Denali would probably be the only food the little dragon ever got before dying of starvation like its parents. "But I don't want to starve either," Denali whispered. Still he could not force himself to go after and kill the little dragon. He shook his head and called for the dogs to come around and face out of the ice cave. "Hike," he yelled. For once they listened to him, and the sled jerked into motion. The dogs followed the path back the way they had come. When Denali came to the spot where the ice chasm began, he slammed on the brake and stamped in the snow hook, stopping the team. He did not want to go all the way back out to the ocean, but without the lead dogs, he knew the other dogs wouldn't take his command to turn. Going up to the front of the team, Denali dragged the dogs around to pass westward beyond the chasm. "This way, boys," he said. "We need to go this way to find the others." The dogs whined and barked, but as soon as he went to the sled, they slewed around back onto the path to the coast. "No," Denali shouted at them. "We need to go right." Gee. He gave the command to turn to the right, but the dogs refused. "Why won't the dogs listen to you?" Kamar asked. Denali jumped. He hadn't realized his father was awake. "We lost the lead dogs," Denali explained. "Without them, the others just want to go home, and they think home is that way, but they're wrong. Besides, they are your dogs. They only take commands from you. They don't respect me. Maybe if you give them the command, they'll take it. What command? Kumar asked. Denali shook his head in frustration. It was like his father was a different man. G. Kumar repeated softly as if he'd never heard the word before. It means turn to the right. A forlorn howl sounded in the distance. Denali stiffened. That was a wolf, Kumar said. A snow wolf, Denali agreed. Another howl answered. A pack of them, Kumar mused. Sounds like they're coming up from the coast, the direction these dogs seem to want to take. Gee, Denali shouted at the dogs. Gee, you stupid dogs. The dogs barked and lunged against their harnesses, trying to break the sled free from the snowhook so they could follow the path back to the coast. Gee, Kumar shouted at them. The dogs fell silent and swung back around in the direction Denali had been trying to get them to go. Denali tore the snowhook up, and the sled shot forward, heading westward. The wolves howled again in the distance. Denali glanced back. He thought he saw a movement behind him, but when he focused on the spot, all he could see was snow. Kumar sighed and unfastened the makeshift bandage from his chest to check on the dragon claw wounds. Denali, he said. You didn't tell me you had a stash of great dragon saliva packed somewhere on this sled. Denali glanced down at his father and let out a sharp cry of surprise. The gashes on his chest had healed over, leaving behind 4 pale scars. What kind of spirit magic did that? A shiver of fear went through Denali. He'd never seen any wound heal so quickly. Kumar rubbed his hand across the puckered skin. It's not magic. It's great dragon saliva. I know the smell and feel of it, believe me. But if you didn't apply it, who did? I thought we were alone out here, though I have a feeling we shouldn't be. No. We most definitely shouldn't be. Especially with a hungry pack of snow wolves behind us. Denali glanced over his shoulder, but still couldn't see the snow wolves. The dogs had fallen to a steady trot, a pace they could keep up for hours. But dragon saliva, where did it come from? Kumar shivered, flipped the bandage around to the opposite side, which was less covered with blood, and recovered his bare chest. Denali bit his lip as he thought about the baby white dragon. He'd been so sure the horrible creature wanted to eat his father. But it had licked the wounds and not taken a bite out of Kumar's unprotected body. You going to tell me? Kumar said gruffly. A rumble came from the tall mountain slope to their right, and the ground shook for a moment. Denali cleared his throat. There was a dragon egg in the cave. It hatched a great white dragon. Little thing. Clumsy and delicate. It flashed its stone at me and then attacked you. I thought it meant to eat you. It was licking your chest, and I drove it away with my hunting knife. The little beastie stole all our fish. That's strange. If it was hungry, you'd think it would have gone for the fish first. Not that I'm complaining. Kumar rubbed his chest, then lay back and closed his eyes. Does that mean you're going to be all right? Denali asked. Kumar groaned. I don't know which hurts worse, my leg or my head. But at least I'm not bleeding to death now. I think we owe that little dragon my life. Don't know why it did it though. Must not have understood I killed its parents. You killed its father. Its mother died of starvation. Something's wrong. All the game has vanished. The ice is melting and splitting off into the sea. I've never seen the like of it. Mother and the rest of the tribe have gone to Illulissat. We have to get there before the snow wolves catch up with us. It sounds like they are following our trail. What's your mother's name? Kumar asked, just loud enough Denali could hear him above the whoosh of the sled runners on the new fallen snow. Eska. Denali could barely choke out his answer. The smash on the back of his father's head must have done some serious damage for him not to remember the woman he cared so deeply for. A beautiful name. How can you not remember her name? Why don't you know us? Denali cried. Amar, you stupid man, Kumar said. He closed his eyes and drifted back into unconsciousness.